to become the happiest, healthiest version of myself. This is the glute day that I have been doing. Form tips, form cues. Hello everyone, happy Monday. It is a lovely, slightly rainy Monday afternoon here. Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, then hi, I'm Jenny. Welcome back to another episode of the Big Lock-In, where I'm sharing my journey of locking in for the first 3 months of 2026 to become the happiest, healthiest version of myself and get in the best shape of my life. And for today's vlog, I am going to take you guys through my glute day. So this is the glute day that I have been doing for the past 6 weeks. Just as a little reminder, my goals are to grow my legs, specifically grow my glutes, but also addressing some lower back pain and knee pain that I used to have, and it is actually on the mend and improving. So I used to have RDLs in my program, and then I realized that that was sort of triggering my lower back pain, and so it's best to leave that out for the time being. So I've taken that out of my program, and I've actually doubled up on hip thrusts, which is going really well. I actually hit a PB last week, so we're hoping for, that PB felt actually really easy, so I'm hoping for another PB in today's session. Hopefully we'll be feeling strong. I've had a nice restful weekend. In my shaker I've got my creatine as usual, and I've also got about half a scoop of pre-workout mixed in there, so hopefully it should be a good leg day. I'm going to take you through all the exercises I do, talk a little bit about why I do them, good form, any form tips, form cues, also about any warm-up, cool down that I do. So yeah, I will see you guys in the gym. Okay guys, welcome to our lovely little glute session. Now, as always, I begin every single gym session with some backwards walking on the treadmill, which I have been doing at the beginning of every single gym session since the beginning of this year. Now, the main reason I do this is for my knee health. I have struggled with knee pain on and off, mainly due to my running, and I am just trying to strengthen my knees, and backwards incline walking has really helped with this. You just have to stay consistent. So I do about 5 to 10 minutes. I put the treadmill on the highest incline, which for me is 15%, and then just a moderate speed and walk backwards. And now this actually does get me really nice and warmed up as well. As you will see, I got nice and warm, took my hoodie off, and then I head over to the mats to do my stretches. Now, I have also been prioritizing my stretching, so I don't just go over and do 5 minutes of basic stretches just for the sake of it, counting my reps and then heading over to start my workout. I actually try and be a lot more intentional with my warm-up and have included some movements that are more sort of mobility focused, so it helps me to really address any pain points I have, and just to ensure that my body is really nice and warmed up and ready and prepared for a heavy session of lifting weights. So as you will have seen, I just started off with some child's pose to cobra. I do about probably around 8 to 10 reps of every single movement that you're seeing here. After the child's pose to cobra, I did the cat and cow pose, which I think has really helped with my lower back pain and just strength overall and mobility. And then I did some lunges, really making sure that I'm stretching out those hip flexors to a hamstring stretch. And then I get on all fours and do these hip cars, which is really good for making sure that your hip is nice and warmed up and you're really warm in that full range of movement in your hips. And then I get on my back and I do these pelvic tilts. I don't know if you could see, you need to look very closely to be able to see the way I'm doing it. But these movements just help to activate my core and address the anterior pelvic tilt that I have, which is what kind of contributes to my lower back pain and can just cause issues when you're lifting and you're not warmed up properly and you are just not using proper form. I also do those dead bugs, which have been really good, and some 1990s, and then I go into my favorite movement, or it's just a must movement. I can't go a leg day without getting into a deep squat and really feeling everything in that squat and making sure that you are mobile in that position, and then I just go into some hamstring stretches from there. And yeah, that was about 10 minutes of stretching, and I am ready to start my lifts. Now, the number one thing for you to take away from this video is warming up. As you've seen, we've just been warming up for the past 15 to 20 minutes. But also with every single exercise, do not put any weight on until you have done a few warm-up sets. Now, as you can see here, I did one set of just no weight at all and just really thinking about the movement and visualizing the movement and making sure that the positioning and everything is correct. And then you can go ahead and have some light weight. So this is 60 kg on the bar, very, very lightweight for what I'm going to be working on today. And I'm really just being intentional and thinking about the movement, thinking about where I should be feeling it, where I shouldn't be feeling it, and just getting in the right headspace for your workout. And this is my second warm-up set. So now I would suggest to do at least 1 or 2 warm-up sets. My second warm-up set was with 100 kg because we are working with the heavy weights today. Yes, my working set began with 150 kg, which is what I was on last week and which felt really smooth and really easy. Sorry, my first exercise is a hip thrust, by the way. I did completely just miss that out. But my working rep range for hip thrusts today is 8 to 10 reps. So for the first working set, I had 150 kg on the bar and I got 10 reps, felt smooth, felt light, felt easy. So I added another 10 kg onto that and we had 160 kg on the bar. Now this was my first time ever touching this weight for hip thrusts. So I'm obviously trying to be nice and cautious and focusing on good form throughout. Now that lift off looks pretty rough and I'll be honest, it felt rough, but once I got into the movement, I got the 10 reps nice and easily. I mean, yes, it doesn't look easy, but I can't lie, it feels smooth and it feels good. But as I mentioned, because this is my first time at this weight, I just decided to stay at this weight for the next 3 sets. I'm doing 4 sets of this exercise overall, but it felt really strong and I managed to push till failure on my last set. Our second exercise is the calves glute bridge. Now I know what you're thinking, this looks very, very similar to the hip thrust that we just did, but the key difference between a hip thrust and a calves glute bridge is the range of motion. Now as you can see, the range of motion on the calves glute bridge is about half of what it was for the hip thrust, and when we are at the top, we are moving about halfway down before we're pushing back up. It's sort of like a pulsing movement and I recommend using a lighter weight for this, but just really focusing on that connection and keeping it nice and controlled. The next exercise is hamstring curls. We are doing 3 sets of this for 10 to 12 reps. I did do a quick little warm-up set for this first and then moved on to my working weight. Remember to keep your core nice and tight and really focus on the squeeze at the bottom. This exercise is really good at isolating your hamstrings and you can really push till failure since you are on a machine, which makes that process a lot easier. Our next exercise is a glute cable kickback. I do about 2 to 3 sets of this at a rep range of 12 to 15. Now because it is a single leg movement, it just does take longer, which is why I give myself the option of doing 2 or 3 sets. If I have more time, I'll do 3 sets, but most of the time 2 sets is enough for me if I really push on those 2 sets. For me, it helps to have a lean forward and to hold something for support with at least 1 arm, sometimes 2, and I am kicking back with the working leg straight back and trying to control the way down. So I'm pushing back with a lot of power and strength and focusing on using my glute to power that movement and then trying to control the way down, bringing it down nice and slow. And our final exercise is the seated abduction. I do about 2 to 3 sets at a rep range of 15 to 25. Now this is quite a large rep range, but I usually like to do a drop set. For this exercise, I didn't show you guys, but I actually have to do sort of a separate warm-up right before this exercise for my hips, because when I first started doing this exercise, I found it really difficult and felt like my hips were going to lock. So for me, it really helps to warm up my hips right before I do this exercise by just doing those hip cars that I showed you at the beginning of our workout. Just standing hip cars, really making sure that my hips are warmed up in that full range of motion, and it makes the exercise feel a lot smoother. And as you can see, I am really pushing till failure, and that is my glute workout. I had such a good pump after this workout and I was sore for about 3 days. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I know it's a little bit different from what the vlogs are usually like. I would love to know what you guys think. Please subscribe to follow along with the journey, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.